Good evening, it's day 3 of vlogmas. Started this vlogmas quite late because I've spent most of this morning sorting out thumbnails for other videos and doing video editing. Yeah, just basically trying to catch up on computery stuff, which takes me a stupid amount of time as it is anyway, but I've got quite a long list of things to do on the computer at the moment, so it's taking me even longer. I've decided to come and make myself some dinner. So I think for today's dinner I'm going to invent like a little chili con carne. We've got some leftover vegetables, we've got some lentils in the cupboard as well. I think I've got some rice and a couple of tins of tomatoes and some chili flavouring and stuff like that. So yeah, going to be another day of using up leftover vegetables. I really need to get some grocery shopping. It's just been one of them days where I haven't really had that much time to potter around. I haven't actually even done my daily doodle yet, which is quite unusual for me. I'm probably going to do my daily doodle a little bit later on. Though the only issue I do have is that my white paint hasn't arrived yet. I think it should be arriving tomorrow. So I think today is going to be a bit more of like a sketching out of daily doodles. Probably sketch out a few more daily doodles, and then over the next couple of days, hopefully I can then paint them. I think what I'm just going to do is make myself my dinner so that I'm not hungry, and then I should be able to function a little bit better. I've got red pepper, tiny bit of courgette, red onions, a few little mushrooms, some red lentils, tin of tomatoes, rice, chili con carne flavouring, a couple of little herbs and spices. I might just get out some more spices. I need to tidy up the cupboard. It's got loads of like empty jars in it. Might go for some paprika. Them in my spice pile. Might also have some cheese with it, but yeah, let's get chopping up these vegetables. Just gotta do with the onion. Oh no. Later now, that chili con carne that I made was actually really quite nice. It's surprising like what you can concoct when you can't be bothered to go and get groceries. Nice and full up and ready to get on with some work now. As you can see, I'm now back in my room. Absolutely freezing in here again tonight. Got the other half of my pyjamas on that I had on yesterday, my little reindeer ones. At one point, eventually, some point in the future, I might end up wearing the pyjama top and the pyjama bottoms at the same time. But now this is my pyjama bottoms. Anyway, I don't know why you needed to know that. So yeah, as I say, I'm now back in my room ready to get on with some work. Now, I think what I'm probably going to sit and do tonight is actually sit and sketch out a couple of daily doodles for the future, because I haven't got any white paint left, so there's no point in me trying to actually paint anything tonight. But yeah, basically pretty much run out of white paint, so anything that I do tonight is just going to have to be like sketching stuff. I think I'm probably going to sit and sketch out a couple of little daily doodles, and then hopefully when my paint arrives tomorrow, I can then actually paint the daily doodles and also get the other paintings that I want to get done finished tomorrow. But yeah, what I thought I would try and do is, rather than just kind of showing you a little time lapse of me sketching out daily doodles, is I kind of thought it'd be a nice idea to actually talk you through how I sketch out my drawings, because obviously I've been doing a lot of video editing recently, and I've noticed that I kind of tend to just kind of skip over the basic sketching stage when I'm describing what I'm doing in the video. So I thought it'd be quite a nice idea to actually kind of show you how I go about sketching out my daily doodles. Now, disclaimer, I'm obviously no expert. I kind of have my own little method for sketching out things. Obviously for other people it might be completely different, but something I want to kind of get onto in the future is doing like little tutorials and workshops and stuff. Like next year especially, I'd really love to start doing like children's art and craft tutorials, and perhaps even tutorials and live streams and demonstrations and workshops for adults and stuff like that. So I kind of thought it'd be a good idea to kind of practice like my teaching skills, if you can call them that, or more like demonstration skills really, because I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily like a teacher, but yeah, kind of just use you as like a little guinea pig for doing them type of things. Yeah, I've always wanted to do workshops and tutorials and stuff like that, and it's something I've been trying to set up throughout all this year, but I've never quite had enough like funds and stuff lying around to like hire out halls and stuff. But yeah, I thought I'd just kind of do like a little practice talk through or little demonstration of how I do the sketching process for my daily doodles. So I'm going to get all nice and set up and ready to do that, and just need to find a couple of little reference photos of things that I want to draw. I think I definitely know I want to draw an owl. Can't quite decide whether to draw an owl standing or whether to draw an owl flying, so probably end up drawing both, knowing me. So yeah, let's sit and sketch out some little daily doodles, and I will talk you through my little process. Okay, so this is the little reference photo that I decided to start working with. It's of a little owl going for a little fly around. Number one, please ignore the state of my iPad screen. Like everything else in my life, it's completely covered in paint. So the first thing I needed to actually decide to do is whether I'm going to do a portrait or landscape. I think because the image is put landscape, I think it's probably best if I draw a landscape in my sketchbook as well. So let me just quickly turn my sketchbook around. So I'm going to use a nice sharp sketching pencil. I think this is a 2B graphite sketching pencil. It is a mechanical pencil. Comes with the most dinky sharpener in the world. Very, very tiny. Gonna make sure I start off with a nice little point on my pencil. First thing I need to figure out is the size and where I'm placing it on my paper and stuff like that. To do that, what I'm basically going to do is just try and draw it in its simplest shape. It's almost like I'm drawing it as like a little silhouette. So I'm not really like paying much attention to like details and stuff. I'm literally just breaking it down into the most biggest, simplest shapes that I can see. So the most simplest shape that I can see is kind of like this little, it's almost like a triangle / kidney bean shape. It's just like a really flat triangle, but it's like a few curvy bits. So I'm going to sit and pretty much just draw a flat triangle. I'm going to try and be fairly light when I'm sketching it, because obviously at this stage I'm bound to make mistakes and stuff like that. So, but obviously the lighter that I sketch it, the easier it is to kind of make my mistakes disappear by rubbing them out. So yeah, I've got a very basic, it's actually more of a teardrop shape. Then I'm going to roughly draw a triangle for the wing. I'm actually going to draw like a rectangle or a square. Then I'm going to draw like a circle, and then I'm going to draw like a quarter semicircle for that wing there. The head and base, I'm just going to kind of roughly draw a little circle to indicate where that is. And we've got another circle here, a couple of rectangles for its feet. Right, so as you can see, I've got some basic shapes for my little owl. Now I need to kind of refine them, flesh them out a little bit, carve into some of them a bit to change the shape, and yeah, just basically kind of redefine some of the shape. What I'm going to start looking at a little bit more is where things are lined up compared to other features. So I'm probably going to start with this little owl's face. At the moment I've got his face kind of like a circle shape, but actually the top part of this circle doesn't really exist. It's more like his eyebrow line. And then we're going to kind of make the shape a bit more pointy and chisely. I'm going to indicate a little bit where his eye is. So I'm going to kind of draw this eye here, and he's looking downwards. And then we're going to figure out where his nose is. Now, what I mean by looking at where features, where you can get hints and stuff by different of the proportions of things by looking at other features, is if I look at the corner of this eye here, I can see that it kind of diagonally lines up with part of his head which starts coming inwards. So if I quickly just show you on this, so the corner of his eye here is like a diagonal line to that bit, where his eyebrow or whatever that part of his head is starts to come inwards. So I'm going to draw that diagonal line, and then I'm going to draw in the start of his, I'm going to call it his eyebrow. I don't know if it is his eyebrow, but that's what I'm calling it. Then we've got the start of his other eyebrow here, and if I look at the shape of this bit, it's basically like a little triangle. So again, I'm going to make sure that I've got that triangle shape on the bit that I'm sketching. So now I've got to draw underneath of his body, and what I've already noticed is that when I really start sketching out the bottom part of his body, I've done his legs and this bit far too high. Let's see if I can get the bottom of his owl body correct. So at the moment, got it kind of coming up here. If I look at the negative space here, it's like an arch. So I'm going to draw a little arch in here. And then again, I'm going to give myself clues as to where this start of this wing is by looking at kind of like there's an imaginary line. We're about halfway in that semicircle that I've just drawn, or that arch that I've just drawn, kind of like a line or imaginary line going up to roughly the start of where his wing starts. As I say, there's probably like loads of different ways that people start off originally sketching out things, but this is kind of the method that I tend to use quite a lot. That's redrawing his leg. If I look at this bit here, it's like a rectangle, so I've got like a little rectangle in that space. If I pretend there's like a little imaginary line going there, it's almost like a little triangle shape. So I'm going to make sure Draw that little imaginary line there. Now it's coming up to my least favourite part of any drawing, and that is drawing feet and claws. Don't like human feet, don't like animal feet, don't like claws, just don't like drawing them, don't like looking at them, they freak me out. But there we go, it's time to actually try and get them drawn. Okay, I keep putting off drawing these talons because obviously don't like drawing feet. Gonna do one sausage shape for that talon, another sausage shape for that talon. Got some feathers going on back here. When I come to paint it, I'll probably even break them sausage shapes down a bit further and give them like some little bumps and knuckles and stuff like that. For now I can just leave them as like little sausage shapes. You can tell how much I hate drawing feet by how little I'm paying attention to actually drawing them properly. See, sometimes when you do start sketching things out, you might find that like even though you haven't drawn it in the same position as what it is on the reference photo, you might end up preferring it. So there's sometimes like where I've drawn an owl in a similar position as this before, and I've like drawn it so that his claws coming out a bit more of an angle rather than what it is on the reference photo. And it's right to leave things like that as long as it looks alright in the end. You don't have to have an exact replica of what you're actually drawing, especially if you're like doing like a storybook illustration. Sometimes you can use your little imagination and be like, I want to move his claw there so it looks like he's going after a mouse or something. It's not very Christmassy thought. A wing sorted out. Now obviously when I originally drew it, I just basically drew it as a triangle, but I'm now kind of seeing that it's like a lot more wider. So it kind of goes a bit more like that. Probably need to get this part in because then that'll give me a bit of a clue as to where that finishes. So let's do that. Vision. That's another thing I do tend to do randomly, is make random vision noises. Don't know why it helps, it just does. So yes, that was basically my little sketching process that I used for doing my little daily doodles. I've ended up sketching out obviously the first owl, I then moved on to sketching out this little owl, and then I've got this little owl as well. So hopefully over the next few days I can actually get them ones painted. They're probably going to end up changing shape quite a lot as I paint them, but yeah, it's just like little rough sketches and rough guidances as to where I'm putting things. I think they turned out okay. But yeah, I originally was going to sit and do a bit more work this evening, but time has kind of run away from me a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna go and have a nice early night, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow with day 4 of Vlogmas. Okay, so not gonna lie, I was originally planning to kind of pack away my stuff and go to sleep, but I've basically been sitting here like doing a bit of knitting, and my brain is going about like a million miles an hour at the moment. Usually doing knitting in bed kind of stops my brain from doing that, but tonight it's not working. I think it's because I've got too many like different ideas floating around my head of different things that I want to do. So what I'm gonna do is, obviously I need to knit to the end of this row because I don't like leaving my knitting halfway through a row, because usually all hell then breaks loose and things fall, like the stitches fall off the needle and stuff like that. So I'm gonna knit to the end of this row, and then I think what I might do is get a little sketchbook out and just do some little character doodles, like some Christmas character doodles. But yeah, once I get to the end of this little row, I'm just gonna get like a little tiny sketchbook out, and I've got a pen out anyway. This Vlogmas video isn't quite over yet because for some reason I am wide awake and can't get my brain to shut up. Right, let me grab a sketchbook, put this on the end. Right.